Welcome to Early Years Weekly number 25.
To be 25 again.
You're 26.
That's right, welcome to Early Years Weekly, and this week we're kicking off with a story about the early years workforce by a report from Ceeda.
Yeah, so the Ceeda Early Years Workforce Survey 2019 highlighted some very familiar problems within the sector, so mainly regarding recruitment, workplace stress, and also longer waiting lists at nurseries. Now, this survey looked at 563 nurseries in the UK.
And had some really interesting results. So first off, we had that 3/4 of nurseries said they were struggling with recruitment, and this has had some big knock-on impacts. So for example, 77% of providers said that these hard-to-fill vacancies had made for a more stressful working environment. And that was 21% more than the same time last year. At the same time, we saw that 38% of providers said these hard-to-fill vacancies were leading to longer waiting lists as they had staff shortages and couldn't serve the children that they needed to. Again, that was up 18% from 2018. So just interesting to see that in 1 year, how much of a difference can be made and how things are not necessarily going in the right direction.
And further to this, it stated that 98% of setting owners and managers agree with the statement, "I view myself as a professional worker." Now, over 2/3 disagree that the government and general public share the same view, which is very worrying. Interestingly, another point that came up was that whilst managers think that the biggest reason for staff turnover is pay and benefits with the job, the staff actually told a different story. They ranked these reasons as limited progression, lack of recognition, poor communication, and negative impact on home life, all of which came above poor pay and benefits.
So we'd love to know what you're doing. What kind of initiatives do you have at your nursery or your setting to make sure that staff feel like they're welcome and that they want to stay and that there's opportunities for growth? Let us know in the comments down below.
Yeah, it would be super interesting to hear how you tackle that at your nursery. It's probably a good time actually to move on to the next story, which is about the Early Years Workforce Commission that's been announced. So the main aim of this commission is to ensure the early years sector is a recognised sector and offers a rewarding and attractive career path for individuals. Now, there's lots of members involved, and to name a few, Early Years Alliance, Ceeda, Early Education, and Pacey, amongst a lot of others.
So we can only get so far on this week's Early Years Weekly without mentioning the one story that is on everyone's minds at the moment, and that is the coronavirus or COVID-19. Today we are producing a guide, and we've been working with Johns Hopkins University to just explain some of the clear facts about what you need to do to make sure that you're prepared and what might happen if things get worse. We just want to make sure that we're giving clear guidance rather than giving into the kind of hearsay that can kind of proliferate on online forums. So watch out for that. We'll put the link in the description down below to make sure you're up on what you need to do at your setting.
So we do completely appreciate it's a very stressful position for you guys to be in, which is why we want to be absolutely clear on what we advise. The government have released a sort of battle plan. If it does get worse, this will be released, and it could mean that ratios are relaxed a little to cater for staff being able to stay at home if they don't feel well, whilst the nursery stays open. There has also been a lot of furore around insurance, and the UK has just announced that corona kind of falls under a notifiable disease, but it's definitely worth checking out whether your insurance policy covers specific diseases or the more generic notifiable diseases, so I'd recommend checking that out.
So next up, we have the news that the London Early Years Foundation is going to be launching male-only apprenticeships. Now the idea is they're going to be running these male-only apprenticeship scheme alongside a female-only cohort. And the idea is that men will be able to get together, share best practice and their learnings. Now this has come after some research from Men in Childcare Scotland and Men in Childcare Ireland that has suggested that male-only training groups tend to deliver better outcomes and end up with more men in the sector at the end of it.
Yeah, I think with the Ceeda report showing that still only 3% of the workforce are male, it's so important that we are really focusing on getting more men into the sector. So last up, a story on the link between household chemicals and language delays in children. So new research has suggested that toxic chemicals found in a lot of cleaning products does actually delay language development in children. Now, this study looked at low-income households, and the children in these households where parents frequently use toxic chemicals in the cleaning products had more delays in language development by 2.
Now, of course, at the moment, this is merely a correlative study, so it's just shown that in households where you have more of these chemicals being used, there is more language delay. So they've not managed to prove any causal link between the two yet. So you can't go too far with this study 100%, but it is worth thinking about how you're educating parents around the chemicals they're using and also what you're using in your setting. It's top of the agenda for a lot of nurseries right now, particularly because those interested in environmental and sustainability concerns that are transitioning to more natural cleaning products. So just perhaps another reason to look into that and work out what you're using in your setting and whether it's the right thing.
So thank you very much for watching Early Years Weekly number 25. Remember to like if you like the content and subscribe if you want to see future videos, and we'll see you next time.